Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for EllenHutson.com. Happy Satur-YAY. We are celebrating the weekend by getting our craft on. And today I am creating this really fun, sparkly rainbow stack sentiment card featuring products from Hello Bluebird. And I really love these rainbow stack sentiments. On the top, it is white, but when you look at it from the side, you can see a rainbow of layers underneath. And it's just a fun way to add an unexpected twist. And it's a really great way to use really delicate sentiment dies like this magical die cut from Hello Bluebird. So I'm going to get started here by stamping this unicorn. This is from the Unicorn Tails stamp set from Hello Bluebird. And I've stamped it in some Gina K Amalgam Jet Black ink onto some Neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock. And I'm masking off with some purple tape just beyond my unicorn's bum. I wanted to do a little stamping, and this is what I would call a kind of My Little Pony inspired design on my unicorn's rear end here. So I'm using some stars from the Unicorn Tails stamp set, and I'm stamping them in some Gina K Amalgam Jet Black ink. And I'm using that purple tape to keep it from getting into the tail or in the areas where surrounding the unicorn where you would see that when I die cut it. So I'm just stamping this here. I think it's very fun. And I skipped the coloring of this unicorn. I'm just going straight to the die cutting because this is OG unicorn and I did not use OG unicorn. I used a completely different unicorn on the finished card project, so I didn't want to take up your time. We're going to get right to the good stuff. Now I have this die set. This is from Hello Bluebird and this is called the Rainbow Sky die set. And this has 7 different sizes of rainbow bows. And what I want to be able to do is once I cut them apart, easily be able to grab them in order. So once they're kind of all separated from each other, it might be, you would have to kind of line them up and see which one's bigger. So I just went ahead and used a permanent marker to write the numbers from largest to smallest on these rainbow bows. And then I snipped them all apart and I'm die cutting them from different colors of some textured cardstock. Now, I have no idea what color cardstock I used. I grabbed some from a scrap stash and I have a ton of textured cardstock in my stash. And I really like to use textured cardstock. I think it's got an element to it that just kind of steps up just a little bit, especially when you're creating clean and simple cards. So I have all of my bows die cut from the various colors of cardstock here. And now I'm taking a piece of foam adhesive and I'm going to assemble these all together, and I'm just lining up the bottom edge of that left-hand side of each of these colors with the bottom edge of the foam adhesive because I don't want 6 pieces of rainbow cardstock floating around my desk. I need to be able to pick this up and move it all in one piece. And so I'm just assembling it together here on some foam adhesive. Now you could also assemble this on some cardstock and then cut it out, but let's be honest, I did not want to take the extra step of cutting out the cardstock. So this was my solution to that. Now, once I get one side of those all adhered together, I'm going to press those rainbow bows all together, and I am going to make sure that they're all touching, and then put a piece of foam adhesive in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other side and add a couple more pieces all across the back of my rainbow so I have it all assembled in one piece and it's ready to go on my card. Now I have my unicorn and I have my rainbow, and it's time to work on our rainbow stack sentiment. So I am using this Magic and Sparkle die set from Hello Bluebird, and I'm die cutting it from some Neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock. And if you'll notice there, I added my metal shim into my Gemini Junior cutting sandwich. That's because this is a really intricate, delicate die, and I wanted to make sure I got really clean cuts. And that metal shim really achieved that for me. These are popping right out. I'm not fighting with these die cuts at all. So that was a great call. Now, once I've cut this 3 times from the Neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock, I'm going to cut it from all of the colors of the textured cardstock that I used as well. So I'm going through my pinks and my orange, yellow, green, and blue, and I am going to create a whole rainbow of die cuts. And that's so that I can stack these up and have that rainbow stack die cut. Now from the top, this die cut is going to look like it's white. But when you look at it from the side, you're going to see all that rainbow of colors peeking through. And it's a really fun effect. I especially love this on a plain white card. This is a great way to add just a splash of color onto a very simple white card. This also ties it in with that rainbow that I just created, and I really wanted to make this sentiment kind of a focal point and make it feel like it had some weight and some presence on the card. So stacking up several die cuts like this is really going to achieve that for me. Now I've gone ahead and arranged these in rainbow order, and I am working from the bottom up. So I'm going to have my blue on the bottom, and I've gone ahead and added some Zig 2-way glue pen to the top of that blue die cut, and then I've stacked the green one on top of it. And I just make sure that I press them together and make sure all the edges are lined up. And then I can repeat the process, adding the yellow one and then adding more glue pen and then the orange and the pink. Now, when I get to the top of this stack, I am going to actually add 3 of the white die cuts. And that's going to give it even more weight. It's going to give it even more dimension. And it's going to add to that appearance that this is a white die cut from the top. And I really just thought it needed those extra couple white die cuts on the top to really make it stand out. But you could decide for yourself, if you only want to use 1 layer of white, you could absolutely do that. Now, this would also be fun to do in kind of an ombre scheme as well, instead of a rainbow scheme. So you could do all different colors of blues or pinks or purples, and that would create a really fun focal point on your card as well. So I'm using my fingers to kind of just pinch these together, make sure they're all lined up, and then I have my stacked up rainbow die cut sentiment ready to go on the front of my card, and this is going to make a great addition to my little scene that I'm creating with my rainbow and unicorn. Now, I wanted to be able to kind of pop this up on the card, and one of the ways that I can disguise foam adhesive behind a delicate sentiment like this is to add a strip of vellum behind it. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to stamp some sentiments, and this is from a coordinating sparkle stamp set, I believe is what it's called. And it coordinates really well with that magic and sparkle die set. So I've gone ahead and just gold heat embossed that onto my vellum, and I used the Brutus Monroe gilded embossing powder, and I made sure that I prepped the surface of my vellum before I added my stamping and my embossing powder, and that's going to keep stray embossing powder from being all over this vellum, which tends to be a little bit staticky. So once I get that heat set, I can add my stacked up die cut sentiment there, and then I'm going to start working on my card front and my card base. So for my card front, I went ahead and die cut a heart window from it. This is a Hero Arts Nesting Heart Infinity die. And I've die cut it from some Neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And on my card base, this is an A2 size top folding card base. It's a landscape card base. I am going to use my Picket Fence Studios life-changing blending brushes and blend on a couple of colors of Distress Oxide ink. I used the Tattered Rose and the Spun Sugar to create a pink sky background. So now that I have my pieces all ready to go, I can start assembling, and I'm going to start with my rainbow. I'm going to poke it into that heart window and get it where I want it, and then just adhere it in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my sentiment strip as well with a little bit of foam adhesive. And I've just kind of tucked it behind the embossing and the die cut that's there on that vellum to hide the foam adhesive. Now I have to tell you, at this point in my card, the unicorn didn't feel right to me. And I couldn't figure out what about that unicorn was not right, but it just didn't feel right. And so I didn't let that stop me from continuing to create. When something like this happens and I get to a point in my card where I kind of hit a roadblock, I go ahead and work on the things that I know are working and that I know that I like. And at this point, I set my unicorn aside. I started adding the foam adhesive to the back of my card front, and I added a double layer of foam adhesive to the back of that rainbow where it is inside of the window. And then I removed all the backers and kind of just adhered that on to my card front. Now you can see my unicorn sitting there. He is not adhered. That's because I still am not sure about him. So I went ahead and added a couple of vellum clouds that I die cut using that rainbow sky die set from Hello Bluebird. And then I used this little heart die to create a bunch of little hearts to sprinkle around my card, and I added those on with some Zig 2-way glue pen. Once again, still not sure about my unicorn, so he's set to the side while I go ahead and mask off everything on this card front except for this rainbow. And then this is kind of lazy masking here. I just have a bunch of scrap computer paper that I'm laying all over this card front. And I'm just protecting it from this sparkle shimmer sparkle spritz from Satur-YAY that I'm using. Now, when you use this, I have recently rediscovered this. This spray is amazingly sparkly. You want to make sure that you shake it really good. I mean, shake the living daylights out of it before you use it so that all of that sparkle is mixed up into the carrier fluid. And I just spritzed that several times and then I allowed it to dry. Now I've restamped and recolored a unicorn. This one has a little bit more simple color scheme and I liked her or him a lot better. He has a little gold heart on his bum and I'm going to add him on to my card front using a mini action wobbler. This is going to add kind of an interactive element to this card and add a little action. And these mini action wobblers are really one of the simplest things you can do to add kind of an interactive element to your card front. And you can see when the unicorn is touched or anything, it kind of wiggles around. And I think that's so much fun. And it looks like he's jumping over that rainbow. So here's a look at my finished card project. I have my very sparkly unicorn and rainbow, and then I did add some glossy accents over those hearts that I sprinkled on the background as well. And I think this rainbow stacked sentiment is a great addition to this fun little scene. And like I said before, from the top, it looks like it's a white die cut. But when you look at it from the side, you see that entire rainbow of colors peeking out, and it's so much fun. And I really cannot wait to give this card to my niece for her birthday because I think she is absolutely going to love it. Hey, who am I kidding? I would love this card for my birthday. The only thing that this card is missing of my favorite things is a mermaid and a little bit of gold glitter. I mean, I can't say that I hate this card. So there you have it, a really fun, sparkly rainbow stack sentiment card. I hope you enjoyed this. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube, but head on over to the coordinatingEllenHutson.com blog post. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies, as well as the Copic colors that I use to color OG Unicorn and the final finished product Unicorn. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe and turn on the notifications here on the EllenHutson.com YouTube channel so you won't miss any of our paper crafting and card making video tutorials here. I'm so glad you stopped by. Until next time, happy Satur-YAY, and I hope you have a fabulous day.